YouTube? It's Above Average Cody, and today I'm coming at you with a very important video to show you where you are going wrong with your aim in Halo Infinite. And I'm going to do it in probably a very different way from how I normally do it. I have a clip from the homie Carmel Thunder, a Platinum 2 player, and I'm going to compare it to one of my most recent gunfights, and we're going to see with very certain aspects of aiming in gunfights, kind of how they look different, and we're going to focus on each individual thing and kind of break down each gunfight and go back and forth so that maybe you guys can see where you're going wrong with your gunfight and what section you should be improving on with your aim to hopefully win more of these gunfights in the ranked arena. And now, guys, we're actually going to look at 5 different things between these 2 gunfights. First off being centering. Where is your reticle in terms of top to bottom on the screen? Are you aiming at the enemy's legs, their head, the sky? Make sure your reticle is in the right place. Next, we're going to look at reticle placement, which comes down to what you are looking at before the gunfight happens. And then we're going to talk about how far you have to snap your reticle and how quickly you're able to react. Because this is going to come down to how quickly you can get your first bullet, and basically first bullet wins the gunfight 9 times out of 10 in Halo Infinite. And then during the gunfight, we'll be looking at how well we hold our aim on the target, and then how we move during the gunfight to kind of put us in the best position to win this gunfight. And that last part has a little bit less to do with aim, but how you move through a gunfight can actually greatly affect the outcome of the gunfight, so I felt like it was important to mention. So let's dive into it. So first, I'll show you guys each of the gunfights in question, then kind of break it down from there. So here, this is Carmel Thunder's gameplay. Again, he is a Platinum 2 player, and he's about to take a gunfight here on P2 steps. And I'll just show you guys the entire gunfight here. A couple nades fly out, and it does end in a melee trade. And here for me, we just have a quick little gunfight here on Solitude from one of my most recent live streams. I come out, catch an enemy dip, put in some good shots, and I end up getting the kill. A little bit different because I think I got a little bit of help from my teammate, but we'll break that down in as we go through the sections here. Now, the first thing we want to go over is centering. Where is your reticle in relevancy to up and down? Is it centered on chest level where the widest target is to hit, or is it centered kind of somewhere else? It's kind of tough to describe here in CT's gunfight, but I would say he has pretty good centering here. Although he is looking at the floor, he's planning on walking forwards, and as you walk forwards, your reticle will actually end up right where the enemy's going to be, and you will see here just where the reticle is up, down. It's pretty much in a good area. Again, this is a very awkward section of the map to be going over it, but I would say his centering's actually okay. You do always want your centering roughly chest level, or at least where it's going to hit an enemy if they come around the corner. And looking back at my gunfight here, reticle perfectly centered in the middle of the screen, and I actually keep it as such as I jump right here. You can see if an enemy were to jump up here, their head and chest would be right into my reticle, which that's really the whole point of centering. Now, bouncing to reticle placement. Pretty much the same thing, but this has to do with more rotational, looking left and right and things like that. And you can see I have my reticle up. I don't see any enemies. And then I actually shift it over here, and there is an enemy right there. So my reticle placement is pretty dang good because it is at no point very far from where the enemy is. Some of this was, in fact, reaction time, but the main purpose of this gunfight here is if an enemy were to pop up, which they end up with it, I am looking in the right direction. I'm not looking at the sky. I'm not looking behind my teammate. I'm looking in the right direction, so the reticle is placed and ready to take the gunfight. Now, going to CT's gunfight, the reticle placement is not quite as good. You can see he is ready for an enemy to be here. He sees the enemy, and then he actually starts to drag the reticle off and then bring it back. And it just kind of leads to not being quite as ready for it. He does place it in the right area, and he is looking in the right direction in anticipation, but he almost doubts his own instinct here because he knows an enemy's coming here, and you can tell that. However, he almost doubts it and starts to pull the reticle off. Luckily, he does save it and bring it back. But again, there's nobody that's going to be here. You don't actively see anybody popping up here, so you definitely want to keep your reticle placed where you think the enemy is coming from, and you do end up being right with the enemy coming from that way. So I'd say good enough placement. Could have been a little bit better. You could have shot this guy pretty much in the first moment you saw him. So just be sure to be confident with that reticle placement. Keep it there. And if you don't see anything, there's really no special reason to duck behind this cover and kind of break that angle. And as mentioned, we're going to talk about snapping to the target. CT here brings back his aim, and he actually shoots a burst too high before he even sees the enemy, and then snaps back down. He is mouse and key, so the snaps are a little bit easier. So not too bad on the snapping to target. You definitely could have been a little bit faster if you saved this burst until you had the reticle over the enemy. Actually, if you don't jump this corner, you could probably just put the burst right on him. So it takes you a little bit of time to get that bullet, but this dude's actually just throwing grenades, so you do end up getting a pretty good first bullet anyways. But definitely could have been a little bit faster. And now going back to my gunfight, and again, guys, I'm currently a Diamond 4 player. So we're looking at snapping to the target, how quickly I'm able to do so. And again, I have pretty good centering here, pretty good reticle placement, so I snap to the target once he hits the ground pretty fast. I miss 1 or 2 bullets in my burst. Again, this wasn't the best gunfight to select because he's actually looking at my teammate, so it's hard to say how it would have gone if he was looking right at me. But the reaction time actually comes through pretty quick, and I snap right to the target without too many bullets being missed. Again, I choked the first burst a little bit, snapping down, but the reticle does a good job chasing him all the way down, and I do end up getting damage on this fella pretty quickly here. And now, guys, we're kind of going to go through the whole gunfight because we're going to look at how well we hold aim on the target and then also our movement during the gunfight. Just general things to think about. You want to obviously keep your reticle over the enemy as much as possible because that's going to get you kill the fastest. You want to snap up to the head for the final headshot, and you don't want to be kind of jumping or anything that's going to make you a very predictable target. Now, here in my gunfight, I get right to the ground very quickly, so there's no kind of time for the enemy to get easy shots on me. And I drop down, put some shots in the body, and then snap right up to the head for the very quick and easy kill, and we'll watch through that in the full sequence. Nice little snap up, very clean kill. Again, had a teammate shooting at him, so it made it a little tiny bit easier for myself, but that's just how Halo's played it as a team shooting game. But overall, held my reticle over the enemy throughout the entire gunfight, minus that first burst I missed. Very patient, timed my shots well, and it led to a very easy kill there for me. Now heading over to CT's gunfight, he gets that first burst, doing a lot of jumping around in the gunfight, reloading mid-gunfight, pretty much just letting this guy come up and get better position, and it leads to a melee trade. So even though you hit better bullets, if you were to just confidently keep your reticle over the enemy and just keep shooting them, you definitely get this kill. Instead, you back up and kind of let him kind of take position on you. You definitely want to be aggressive in these gunfights. Because again, coming back to mine, I know I have the advantage here. He's looking at my teammate. So what do? I aggressively come down, cut the angle to my teammate, and just put in those shots and obliterate this guy. However, in this gunfight, you're a little bit less confident, a little bit jumpy with the reticle, and it kind of leads to you letting him gain that ground to get that melee. Again, you do a good job keeping the reticle over the enemy for the most part, but you can see how kind of like twitchy and kind of jumpy it becomes. Let me actually slow this down to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let me go to 0.25 speed here and just watch the like little reticle movements. And you can see all the parts of the burst that are missing here. And I've said this from the beginning, this being kind of an aim breakdown video. Lower sensitivity wins gunfights in Halo Infinite. It doesn't work for everybody, but just from my experience, that's what's helped me. And you can see the higher sense on the mouse and key, the higher DPI, if you will. You're a little bit all over the place. It doesn't really matter in the end because you do get the melee trade. But you can just see how many of those little nuggets are missing from the reticle being jumpy. You put a few in the wall there, a couple down in the stairs there, and just this gunfight could go a lot differently if that doesn't happen. And now bouncing back over to my gunfight at the same speed, guys, you can see my much lower sensitivity. It leads to me taking a little bit of time getting down to the enemy, and I do actually miss some of the burst once he drops, but once I get in my zone, I know my sensitivity well. Full burst hit there, snap up, clean hit to the head, very easy. Again, kind of only able to analyze the last 2 bursts, but you can just see how much steadier my reticle is here. Very slow, very methodical, and it's much easier for me to time my burst to get that very quick and easy kill. So again, looking at the Platinum gunfight compared to the Diamond gunfight is the movement and how well you hold the angle, and then, of course, hitting the bullets. It was kind of a perfect disaster of getting that melee trade, because this very easily should have been your kill, CT, and I'm sure you know that once we go through this together. I'm not saying lower your sensitivity, but just try to be a little bit smarter about how you take this gunfight, because again, if you just hold your reticle over that enemy, don't jump, and just keep this angle, you kill this guy easily every single day of the week. It was just kind of ducking back behind that corner. You gave him the opportunity to come up and get that melee trade. Who's to say if you did hit all those bullets, you get that kill regardless? It's probably a melee trade either way, so it's more how you moved around this gunfight as opposed to how you actually shot. So I guess to kind of summarize, guys, and to take away things to improve your aim, good centering. You want your reticle always at the right height for the enemy. CT did a good job of that. You want your reticle placement over where the enemy is going to be. And again, CT, you had that right, but you kind of hesitated on it and kind of pulled it off. You want to keep that reticle there. You do bring it back, and then you kind of want to snap to the target as quickly as possible. So this burst here kind of just throws off your timing in the gunfight. So you maybe want to hold that burst until you get your reticle over the enemy. Because, see, you're not quite over the enemy yet, but you shoot anyways. Drag that reticle down and then shoot the enemy. And then, of course, the rest is just, well, I don't want to say it like it's nothing because it is the hardest part. Holding your aim over the enemy and your movement in the gunfight. You want to keep your boots on the ground. You want to be as hard a target to hit as possible, and if your boots are on the ground, you are able to control your movement. The moment you jump in the air, you are on one consistent arc through the air. You can't change that movement. You are a very easy target to hit. So keep those boots on the ground, hit them with some strafes, maybe even some crouches to throw off their aim, and then, of course, hold your reticle over the enemy. Easier said than done. For all you controller players out there, I do recommend lower sensitivity if you're having trouble. You can see here the little bit of like twitchiness is kind of throwing off some of the bullets in each of these bursts that CT is shooting. But again, it does work out for him well enough, and I do think he easily gets this gunfight if he doesn't let the enemy move up for that melee there. But again, in just about every gunfight you take, you want these slow, methodical bursts. Not necessarily slow, but you want them timed correctly so that they are shooting when the reticle is over the enemy. And then you want to try to hit as many full bursts as possible. Do get that kill as quickly as possible, because this fella did actually snap his reticle to me, and you can see he did a bit of damage to me. So even if I miss some of these bullets, I probably still get the kill, but it could result in me taking a lot more damage or even being one shot. So the faster you're able to get a kill in a situation like this, the better off you will be for the next gunfight you take or wherever you choose to move around the map. But alrighty, y'all, this wasn't too full of aim tips specifically, but I really wanted to take the moment to compare my gunfight to a lower level gunfight, not only to help Carmel Thunder in his future aim and gunfights like that, but also to kind of help you guys maybe see where you're potentially going wrong. But those are the main kind of aspects of aim that I like to think about when I'm practicing and also analyzing my gunfights. So hopefully it's got you thinking about your aim and kind of what direction you need to go in to improve. Let me know in a comment if you have any questions or if there's anything that you want me to explain better in another video. Feel free to let me know below. But outside of that, guys, subscribe to the channel. Tons of Halo Infinite content here. I've been working hard trying to get more full-length videos out. I've been very busy with end-of-summer festivities and things like that. But I'm doing my best for y'all, so please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on the video. Already mentioned leaving a comment. And finally, guys, channel membership. Super thanks to like support monetarily. Helps you out a lot as a content creator, but please do not feel like you have to. But alrighty, guys, hope this one helped you out. Thank you so much for all the support. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next one.